Yeah, it's just like really crazy because for those who don't know why something like this is very important, one of the biggest things I don't really talk about it a lot because it's I'm very passionate about this, but like not to the point where I would do what the hell is this dude's name? Like what is this dude's like Ross? What like Ross is actually doing.
Ross, yeah, Louis Rossman.
Yeah. What Ross is doing is fighting for archival and preservation.
No, Louis Rossman was the Stop Killing Gays guy.
Well, yes,
This is just Ross.
no,
from
that's what I'm
Yes,
saying.
Three
he
Feet
was.
Behind.
Yeah,
Louis Rossman is who's it is Right to Repair. But what Ross is doing here is fighting for archival purposes. If you're a fan of lost media, you should know the importance of it. One of my favorite shows growing up, and this is why I've always been very interested in archival purposes and archival purposes for media, was a Cartoon Network show called Megas XLR. And that
God.
and it put me down a rabbit hole of how do cartoons and other types of media just disappear. Sometimes
Infinity Train just
Yeah,
deleted.
Infinity Train getting deleted, things like that. And the idea is when something is considered bankrupt, it just disappears because they're not allowed to sell it anymore. They're not allowed to have not allowed to like house it anymore. And so it just disappears off the face of the earth, and you're lucky if somebody archived it. That's why you have a lot of lost media of that type, because a company could say, well, this show didn't meet the aspect of toy sales that we believed it should have. So we're just gonna get a tax write-off and say it never mattered. Now, is that a great thing? No. Go on.
It's different. It's different with like physical products versus media. Because when it's media, there are many times only single moments or very few windows where you could experience them through their like legal means of being produced or being distributed. But like a toy, if they need, or this isn't the same, but like when it was like one of the sports games got sued because they weren't paying athletes or something, or they weren't crediting
NCAA.
athletes
So
appropriately.
NCAA.
Not the same thing, but another situation where they were destroying the games instead of I don't know, like as like passing them out or something to people to play for free.
I will give the best example that I think of, and that is when Hasbro realized the sale of Transformers was going down. They made a movie to kill off all the characters that everyone loved, and you had crying children leaving the theaters because they killed Optimus Prime and Ironhide and everyone else. All so you could buy Hot Rod, and no one fucking likes Hot Rod.
Yeah. And I think it's just like, this is like one of those things where it's incredibly interesting because we are looking at kind of the death of the way that people understand media today. Now, one of the biggest pluses for Stop Killing Games is quite literally, you don't need to pirate the game. Yes, I know. We will talk about off-brand. Off-brand does come up, Pimenta. Thank you for that. Pirate Software has a vested interest in something like Stop Killing Games not working. Not only the fact is Pirate Software a publisher employee of off-brand games, which very famously is helping the creation of Rivals of Aether 2, which is a 2D Smash-like that is a live service game. From what I also understand, Heartbound was also supposed to have some live service features at one time. So it's like very, very weird. Oh my god, I didn't know that yet.
For me, I'm quite passionate about pro wrestling. There is a lot of lost media for old territory matches and indie matches that hold historic values to wrestlers' careers.
Yeah. Greg's also very passionate about wrestling.
Yeah, there's a lot of like people who are in the industry now, like a lot of like personal family history, like uncles and fathers and grandfathers that have wrestled in the 70s and 80s that got recorded that is just lost or is owned by somebody where they're not releasing it for one reason or another.
Mm-hmm. And like, here's the thing: like, Rivals of Aether has been like a very successful game. Don't get me wrong. From what I understand, there may or may not be, because one of his dads is the head of the game company. Sure, yeah, thank you. But like, from what I understand, Heartbound may or may not have live service elements. I'm not entirely sure how that works. I don't know enough about Heartbound to say that conclusively, but what is very obvious is that Thor has a vested interest in something, in something like Stop Killing Games not working. And I'm going to sit here and say that the comments Thor makes about Stop Killing Games are slanderous. They're just downright slanderous. Some would say libelous. I think that he is lying. That's my personal opinion. If fucking Furry Fucker 5000, the pirate software developer of Undertale version 0.5, wants to say that I'm lying on his name, go ahead and try. This is an opinion. I have an opinion based on your own statements that I feel are malicious and do not align with any of the facts. And on the website of Stop Killing Games, you purposely do not talk to Ross. You say, you lie and say that his community is malicious without talking to the guy. And then when anyone tries to talk to you about the fact that you are misinforming people, you get incredibly upset and you act like a child. Quite literally, go fuck yourself. You are corpo shill. You will always be a corpo shill. And that's just what you are. But if you don't want to take my word for it, let's look at the Stop Killing Games video about the end of Stop Killing Games and his frustrations with pirate software. So we're going to go here. And I want to say this right now. Again, please, if you are from the EU, please support the link above. It's really, really important to archive games. It's really, really important to archive media as a whole. Stop Killing Games is actually a good stopgap for piracy that people don't understand, because people will buy your game and then buy the service. That people will then buy the fan service to keep the game alive. Like, it's actually...
Think of it, chat. One day, Orc Massage will be deleted off the internet, and you'll be never play it again.
Well, it's because at the end of the day, you're not... At a certain point, you aren't... We have...
We don't talk about this enough.
Yes.
But all the media that you own, you do not technically own. Everything that you have are technically licenses. The physical discs you have are not ownerships of the media themselves.
Yeah.
They're licenses to watch the movies or to watch a TV show or to play the games.
Mm-hmm.
You never...
Yeah.
It's how it's always been like written, I guess, in law, that you're just never the owner of it. And that's just how it's been set up. But I think that's bullshit, personally.
And just to highlight for a second, so nobody says that we're lying.
Anyone who has a hobby or passion should care about this. This goes so much deeper than games in the long run. This is for everyone, not just gamers.
And just to highlight the fact that in 2024, Jason Thor Hall, aka Pirate Software, was brought on as an independent creator through Off-Brand Games. Just to highlight that for a second so nobody says that we're making that up. But no, he is brought on. I don't care about him saying, well, him or Ludwig saying that he makes minimum wage. It shouldn't matter. He's a streamer with like thousands of dollars now. I think he got addicted to the streamer money and doesn't want to finish his goddamn game. And that's
also he has a side project he does on stream as well, which is like a revamped, retooled Minecraft server that plays like an MMO that he spends a lot of time working on instead of Heartbound.
Yeah. Again, that's what I'm saying.
Technically can't hold more than like 30 people at a time or it crashes.
It's just what I'm saying. Like, there's issues with the way that Pirate Software is addressing and presenting Stop Killing Games to the point where I do think it's malicious. It appears by all surfaces to be malicious. But let's hear from Ross. And to Ross's credit, The meanest thing I could say about Ross is he never used the drama to bring attention to this at any point. I think he should have. I think it's very short-sighted to be kind to Pirate Software.
Lord Rush tipped $3.33. I was
Thank you.
halfway through season 1 of Xavier,
Thank you.
Renegade Angel, when the
Yeah.
whole show disappeared from
Yes.
HBO Max. I couldn't watch it until it miraculously appeared on Adult Swim's YouTube. Sign the fucking
God.
petition.
Yeah. Please,
And-
if you are in the EU, please share it with your
Yes.
friends even. Share it with your family members. Get your whole
Yes.
household to sign it. Like, this is insane. But let's listen a little bit now.
I don't want to do this next part, but it's become a liability for the campaign for me not to.
Hey, Axis with the 10. Thank you, dude.
Thank you, thank you.
Yeah, the license thing has always been that way. That's why in the old FBI movie pre-screen thing it says it's illegal to do mass screenings of movie discs you own, even if it's a free screening.
Yep.
Our biggest critic by far is YouTuber and streamer Pirate Software, who goes by Thor. If your only exposure to Stop Killing Games has been this video,
By the way, this is a thumbnail. Great, Thor. already could feel that one of the biggest streamers and biggest proponents for indie game development already is predisposed to hate this thing. You don't provide, and we'll get into it. One of my biggest issues with Thor is he doesn't provide any critique or measures for Stop Killing Games to improve their message. He literally, you'll see it in this video, he literally just says, fuck this shit.
Yeah, his response is just no. Like it's not even
Yeah,
like
you can't do
it's not-
anything about this.
he doesn't have any
stop.
well yeah, he doesn't have any insight. He doesn't have any options of
Yeah.
what he thinks could be better. He's just saying no.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, that's if you want to feel that way, but I feel like a lot of other people are are not going to agree.
Yeah, Loki masquerading as Thor is crazy. That's really funny. I kind of might use that later.
then you've been misinformed. This video is by someone who does not understand the campaign,
Yeah.
has been trying to stop it, and has been making up what it is about. I am not saying that lightly. I will prove it in a minute. Now you might be thinking, okay, so some YouTuber got something wrong on the internet. So what? See, that was my thinking too. The problem is how...
Hey, Rex, thank you so
Never
much.
trust anti-preservationists. They always have some sinister agenda.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. There are instances where Pirate Software is pro archival. When he's talking to a dev, where it behoove him to be pro archival because it'd be very uncomfortable for him to not be pro archival.
Yen tipped $4.20. My last rant on this topic.
No, rant, continue.
This is so important. If you find any media you value, you
Yes.
think has memorial value, it's going to go under. Archive it. You are in the grand scheme saving human history. No matter how trivial it is, our history should be saved.
Yes. I said this in Diesel's stream. I was crashing out. I'm very angry at Thor. Like I'm like legitimately angry because this is a corpo show, and I'm not like a bleeding heart liberal. I personally don't give a shit if there's government oversight. Corporations are going to exist no matter how much you give a shit. So stop making that your goddamn platform all the time. I own a small business. I understand the importance of it. My whole thing is I'm so upset because planned obsolescence exists everywhere. The idea that every game that you love can be pulled off of Steam and you can't enjoy it anymore, so you need to save every game you've ever purchased on like 11 terabytes of bought external hard drives to literally just keep your like products alive. Back in my day, and you can still do it. It's why I support, and you too should support your local libraries. Because back in my day, you could rent games from your local library. You can rent games from the drugstore down the street. I remember renting a game from the local drugstore down the street. It was an N64 game where you would grab objects as this like cute claymation girl, And I know that as a child, I did not understand it. I know Treasure made the game. It's very, very good, allegedly. I couldn't tell you what the game is now. But, like, that is what you do. There are certain libraries that only concern certain media. Very famously, if you are a US person and know this, very famously, I believe it's the library in New York or the library of, I don't think it's the Library of Congress, but some library has the only copy of the Pokemon the musical recording. A literal video recording in like the banisters to record the entire musical that was going across the nation. I remember wanting to see it as a child and never being able to go. And that's like a huge thing. It's the only recording that exists. I'm sure Nintendo has it somewhere. I'm sure somebody, yes, Pokemon had a musical in the 90s. Like in the late aughts, no, the early aughts, the early 90s, the late 90s, early aughts. Pokemon had a musical.
If you think Pokemon was ever popular, then the late 90s, early 2000s was pinnacle.
Yeah.
The closest we ever got to that
Yep.
again was 2016 with Pokemon Go. And even then, kind of not really.
There was a reason why South Park did a whole episode making fun of Pokemon.
Yeah.
Chim Pokemon.
Yeah.
Because it was
Chim
that
Pokemon,
like prolific. Like every kid I knew about Pokemon
I will-
and had like a game if they couldn't get games.
So,
and Yen's absolutely
wanna
correct. It shouldn't be locked up in a museum. It should be available.
Our art is our culture. Don't let corpo control it.
I will bounce off. I'll figure out what Falgi say. I just got back, but I cannot figure out what's going on. Is if you this is only if you have the ability to. I'm not going to say like spend money on it, but if you can find a used game store, I personally try to rebuild my own collections of like
Axis, thank you.
BTW Falgi.
Yes. I know what you mean.
PS1, NC4, PS2. I like go through and I try to buy games that I enjoyed because I don't know if I'm ever going to see them again. And some of them, you may not see them again. Especially for stuff like NES and SNES, things that only have a certain finite, shelf life. You might have to replace a battery and just so you can save games on it.
Yeah. And it's like really important too, like for archival purposes, like where things are. And like for instance, I think this is like really, really important to highlight. This is an aside, but fuck it, I don't care. So this is the Pokemon musical. It was lost media for a long time.
Hugh, I've been doing that too, with movies as well.
Same, I've also been doing it with movies.
It was lost media until 2012, with a whole performance then coming out in 2016. And then in the summer of 2020, a user posted an edit with restored elements from almost every performance from the shows run on YouTube. Like, this stuff was available and nobody knew where it was. This is why archival is like incredibly important, and then why I think Thor is being incredibly malicious by purposely misrepresenting Stop Killing Games. Let's get into it. I'm angry. I'm really mad.
Incredibly influential this YouTuber has been. Remember that list of coverage on the campaign? Well, best I can tell, Thor's coverage has been bigger than literally anyone else on those lists, except Asmongold. And the only video Asmongold had on this bigger than Thor's was about Thor's video. So for all practical purposes, Thor here has been the #1 voice on the campaign.
Insane. With the amount of tech YouTubers that have covered this, and the amount of gaming YouTubers that covered this, it is Thor, who is popular because he's supposed to be the indie dev, I broke the algo supreme guy, is telling you to not support a movement for archival. And his reasons are so incredibly petty.
And he's been lying about what it is. That's a bit loaded, though. In this case, I'm using the second definition of lie.
No, it's the first one. It's the first one. I do not give a shit.
I have no evidence it's the first. This video came out right as we were building momentum, then except for one boost in Germany, the signatures started drying up like clockwork. This put me in kind of a no-win scenario too, because if I ignored it, then a lot of people were going to get misinformed about the campaign. But if I did a response video, which is not something I wanted to do anyway, then it might look like drama farming, which could understandably turn off a lot of people from the campaign, because it's not about that at all.
Farm
so
the
I quickly
drama!
made this video trying to clear up all misconceptions and concerns about the initiative with timestamps for everyone's questions, hoping the truth would eventually come out. I can see now that was a mistake. I should have just embraced the drama.
This is like a big thing. Drama farming is not bad. I say this all the time. Lanza, I'm on a list. What's the Lanza? I know you're making a video on somebody. You and I gotta talk later. I have things for you. If you want to see what was inside that Discord server, I have it. You and I just message me later. We can talk. I'll just send it over to you because I know you're making a video on Dan. I'll just send you what was in that Discord server. This is like, again, put me on a list. I don't really care. Like, this is insane.
To this day, I'm still getting frequent comments and emails about the same falsehoods about the campaign that originated in this video. Well, now I have nothing to lose. If we don't get the signatures, then none of this matters anyway. So if this campaign is failing...
No, I know it's a pirate reference. I knew. I know. I'm just fucking with you, dude.
Because of me.
Bro said that was someone said a mean thing about him. Yeah, no, I know. He also bans anybody that talks about the furry ERP, which is very clearly real. And it's okay to be real. It's okay for it to be real. I don't understand why. Honestly speaking, there is a lot of stuff that's defensible in that. There is emotional manipulation, but I believe on both sides. I do think Thor's is egregious, but I do think so is Lyrics. Lyrics saying, "Oh, I didn't know what hookup culture was." As a person in college is incredibly lying.
Me not talking about this, then I'll at least correct history here on the way down. I'll get this over with and go over what I think are the biggest points of Pirate Software's videos.
Draft, thank you so much for the £10.
I got the physical there. Of the first American McGee's Alice game that wasn't being sold on Steam, Epic Games or anywhere, aside from Xbox Store. And it's an add-on, not separate game like the original.
Yeah. Hold up, I gotta make a tweet. Quartering. How do I at the quartering? What is his at?
The
Is it not
quartering?
the
Is
quartering?
it the quartering?
Why don't you look it up before you start to tweet?
The
Why
quartering.
would you ask us? Why would we know?
Make this right now. No, Diesel still hasn't gotten the book, so
I know.
I'm just adding the quartering in a quote tweet.
He can't. It's fine. It's what is he gonna do about it?
It's his store. Make it right.
Yeah, but Diesel's already doing it on his own end. It's
I'm
fine.
making a joke. I
Is
don't
it
care. It's
joke?
funny.
I'm not going to go over everything because collectively Thor has made hours of video on both me and the movement. I'd be here forever. Believe me, I could address smaller things too, and kind of already have. All right, let's start. Okay, point number 1. Thor does not understand what Stop Killing Games is.
Yes, he doesn't!
Here it is in his words.
So for those who don't understand, the Stop Killing Games...
Oh shit, that's right, chat. We hit a goal. We hit a goal! We can finally feed that
Wow,
dog.
good news, we can finally feed the dog.
Yes, we can. Greg?
Thank you.
Greg?
Yeah, I'm here.
It's Q's turn to sing the song. Q, sing the song! Oh no. Can Q sing the song?
Cute.
Ash, it's time
No.
to sing for the dog.
It's time to feed that dog, Q. If you're not there, Greg, it's time to sing that song.
Or me. I already did it. Q's not allowed.
Okay, he's not allowed. Greg, it's time to sing the song.
I did it last time.
And Ash did it last time. Fine, I'll do it again. It's time to feed the puppers. It's time to give her treats. It's time to feed the dog now. On the Uplock stream tonight. Yes, everybody, Q can't sing the song, but it's okay, I can. If you remember to like and subscribe and donate again, and you too can feed that dog. There you go, girl. Look at her go, chat. Look at her go. Look at her eat. Look at her eat. That's for the puppers, and you too can feed that dog. Thank you very much. Let's go back to Thor being a piece of shit.
Initiatives is basically we don't want single-player games
No.
to have DRM that the developers can turn off and thus render the single-player games inactive anymore. This is what they want to change. They need to be.
Stop killing games has nothing to do with DRM. And also DRM sucks. Why are we doing this? DRM has always sucked.
Yep.
He's already wrong. It has
Sorry,
nothing
I'm back.
to do with
I couldn't
DRM.
talk.
It's okay. It's okay.
You'll get the next one. You'll get the next one.
Okay.
Chat, we have to reach the next goal, so Q sings the song. But he's
Oh my God.
already wrong, and the information is in front of him. It has nothing to do with DRM, you lying sack of shit.
Be specific that they're talking about single-player games that do not need a server to support them.
No.
And as much as they want it to be about specifically games where it is a single-player game that has always online functionality, it would impact every live service game that exists.
No, it only impact it doesn't grandfather games in, you stupid idiot. Yes, we'll get to the gacha one.
Also, I want to say Thor's point about gachas going away because of Stop Killing Games is bullshit. Notorious Dead Guna Gotcha Destiny's Child gave every single player a memorial version on EOS.
It's the same and the same thing. Thank you, Access, for the 10. Oh, you know what other game did that? Mega Man. Mega Man had a gotcha game, and very famously, Mega Man X Dive got a single player offline version because people liked the game.
Why is Thor even trying to defend gotcha games? Because I think if gotcha games went away, nobody would be all that mad about it.
What if I told you Thor actually did go at gotcha games in a way through the Chinese government, and he said it was based? That is a future clip.
Wow.
But yeah.
Okay.
You'll hear Thor later say that he doesn't like government involvement. But then when China does it, Thor is totally okay with it. Which again,
it's like Thor just doesn't want to.
Yeah.
Thor doesn't want to talk of the fact that I don't know. Konami, who was a renowned dev, realized, we can make a lot more money off gotcha games here, and we're just gonna ignore all these IPs that everyone fucking loves. I would love for a new Castlevania to come out, but it's not gonna happen.
Oh, why not?
They'll just release the old games over and over and over in collections that I don't care about.
Again, vested interest. Just remember.
Instead of just targeting single-player, always online games.
No, that's not what it is. Stop Killing Games includes single-player games, but nothing about it is specific to them. He completely made that up, and I have no idea where he got that impression. This is what I mean. It's harder for gamers to understand this because they come with so many assumptions. It's like that saying about doctors being the worst patients.
So this is like a big thing too, previously in Thor's video, just to make reference to what he's saying. Oh my god. Ross makes a correct comparison, in my personal opinion, to the fact that gamers, as well as like other people, just like people with your phones, right? Your phones, like they're gonna be obsolete soon. Planned obsolescence. I have a crack in my phone. I don't really care about it. I've had cracks in my phones before. It doesn't really bother me until the phone screen doesn't break. But yes, I will play the AM thing soon. One of the things is that we are conditioned to believe we should not have the right to own the products that we have or repair them or continue to own them and upkeep them. It's the same thing with it's the same thing with your refrigerator. It's the same thing with a bunch of different things. Like, perfect fun fact, right? This is something that happened recently. My parents' water heater broke. And we went through the water heater company versus fixing it through their water provider. Fun fact, it was cheaper to fix it through the water provider. You just paid more over a period of time. You just were paying over a longer period of time because it was going through your water bill than a flat rate paying the manufacturer to get a singular part to make sure your water heater doesn't implode. Insane.
I mean, explode.
Explode, implode. It's gonna go boom. It's gonna go big boom. But like that's like, yes, and just like Yen like accurately highlights, this is what pirate software does. Dumb statement, unrelated image. I'm right, believe me, okay? Like that's what's happening here is that it's not specifically about single player games. It's about all live service games or games with live service components. But this also extends to games that can get pulled off of like Steam for instance as well, if it goes that far. Because the idea is that Stop Killing Games is a foot in the door for games preservation as a whole. Because if you have the momentum to the essentially the right to repair dead games without servers, you then can still make precedents to why archival purposes should exist. You stupid idiot! And Thor, Pirate Software, wants to act like the victim when everyone tells him that he's wrong about that.
So let's clear this up. It's the first line on the website. Stop Killing Games is a consumer movement started to challenge the legality of publishers destroying video games they have sold to customers.
Oh my god, Thor's already fucking wrong from the first line jump? Fascinating.
But the movement includes all this stuff from earlier, and he was mostly...
Literally. We're not going to go through all of this. Please, 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 I recommend that you go to Stop Killing Games and go through. But essentially, what they're looking at is, like, different instances of games being taken off of, very famously, The Crew. They got Ubisoft to make measures for 2 of their online service games that they've removed the service from now. Like, this is really important. You should have the ability to play the game offline. You should have the ability to buy a server, host it, so you can play the game's multiplayer features offline. Was what it, like, if you're old enough to remember. Greg, do you remember? Q, do you remember? Ash, do you remember the error code that rocked an entire nation?
The Final Fantasy
Which one?
14 one?
No, the Diablo 3 error code. If
Oh,
you
God.
were a kid waiting on or a young adult getting your first midnight launch, you got this is me. I can talk about it for me.
I got Diablo the night 3 night of
Yes.
launch. I couldn't play it.
Yes.
Oh, 3?
I didn't
Yeah.
get Diablo
Error
release
code
night, but I remember I had a
37.
friend who did. Yeah, code
Error
37.
Code 37. I will never forget. It was the
I
first.
blocked that from my memory until just now.
It was the first midnight release I had a car. If I remember correctly, it was the first. It was like one of the first midnight releases I had a car, and because it was the first game that was the first Diablo that was ever was online, and a lot of people had a lot of concerns. But Blizzard kept saying, "No, guys, you don't understand. We have it set. You'll never lose the game. It'll always be online. It'll never have an issue." Launch day, servers are broken for hours.
For
Like literally
days.
like 12. No, you got to play it the first day, I think. But like
I didn't get to play it
12-ish
the first
hours,
day.
it was down. It's why Stop Killing Games matters.
talking about the initiative. Well, the short version is the initiative is about requiring publishers to have end-of-life
Yes.
plans for games they've sold to customers in the future. So when they shut them down, customers can continue running them without their support.
Yes. Without their support. The idea is that there is an initiative for consumers to take the game's source code in a fashion where they can put it on a private server and keep the game up. You know what?
Yeah.
Here's an MMO I never played. I was always fascinated by the game, and I was never able to play it, and it was like a big sadness for me. But I watched a video on it and my eyes lit up. I think I watched this video like 3 or 4 years ago. City of Heroes. For those who don't know, City of Heroes was an MMO.
I know City of Heroes.
City of Heroes was an MMO, was a precursor to the DC, like the DC Universe Online game. I think some of those devs actually went over the City of Heroes, but the concept was combining a series of hero concepts to make a unique hero class with its own power sets and things like that. And obviously, it's limited in how much you can do that, blah, 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 blah. You can only do a lightning hero so many times to, like, pick the best lightning hero, right? But that wasn't the point. The point is that, at the end of the day, people actually kept the game up. And if you know anything about City of Heroes, fans made their own DLC. Fans have kept the game and made their own DLC. It is why, like, something like this is so incredibly important. Because the fans have continued a game that the studio is long dead. Thor getting this wrong is insane. Continuing on.
The long version depends on what kind of transaction is being made.
Look. There's so many options. Games sold as a one-time purchase with no stated expiration date that do not require a connection to the publisher or affiliated in order to function. No impact, the game should already meet the requirements. Games sold as a one-time purchase with no stated expiration date that require a connection to the publisher or affiliated parties to function. Publishers should be required to implement an end-of-life plan so their support would no longer be necessary. The idea is that you don't have to support the game into fucking infinitum and have servers into infinitum, you stupid fucking moron, you pirate software. Stupid corpo fuck, you furry fucking piece of shit.
As you can see, it's...
Yes, I'm angry, chat. Yes, I'm annoyed. I will be annoyed by it. This one makes me annoyed. Because this is a person who has consistently masqueraded himself as the champion of people saying anyone should take up game dev. Everyone should take up indie game dev. If you know anybody who does any kind of game dev, they tell you not to take it up as a goddamn hobby if you're not invested in the hobby. If you're not invested in game development, it's a very taxing hobby, and it's an artistic form. You should be invested in it.
Especially when you do it by yourself.
Yes. And the fact that Thor consistently and constantly will, to this day, lie about what Stop Killing Games is actually about is the problem.
It's actually like really insulting to his audience too.
Yes.
That to make them to like say something completely false about what Stop Killing Games is about, like as if they wouldn't look at it themselves and come to their own conclusion. There's a reason why people keep adding him or messaging him because he got it wrong, because they fucking care.
Yeah.
Lord Rush tipped $3.33.
Thank you,
Wait,
Rush.
which company released Diablo 3? And which company did Pirate Software allegedly work for?
Yeah.
Curious.
Yeah.
You know, it's funny. Two of the best examples that I can think of people doing it right is, did you know that there was for a long time a community based solely around the PS2 version of Star Wars Battlefront 2?
Yeah. Yes.
No.
That it just kept going for forever. There are people still playing it.
Mhm.
You can still play it right now.
Yeah.
You can
They
play it
still
on
play
Steam
it
right
right
now.
now. But like for a long time, it was when it wasn't on Steam, it was being hosted on private servers.
Yeah. Well,
The other example is Unreal Tournament.
Yes.
Unreal
Yes.
Tournament's famous,
Unreal. Now, say whatever you want about Unreal, and there is plenty that I could say about Unreal as a company these days. But the one cool thing that Unreal did do, they just released the originally Unreal 2000.
Yeah.
You can play it on a browser now.
Well, here's
You can play it on a browser now.
Here's something really important, right? This is like a niche game, niche title for those who don't know. But if you've never played Phantasy Star Online, the only reason why the second game is People cared about PSO2 coming stateside for so
It's because
long.
of Phil Spencer.
So long. And when Xbox announced that they got the ability to host PSO2, people went crazy. Do you want to know why? For the nerds, it's because fan translated servers existed. They stole that
I played
game.
them.
People fucking grunged in fucking Japanese forums to learn this game, and then to host fan servers to steal the game.
I remember hearing about that, yeah.
So they could patch it. They could patch people would go in the source code. They would translate everything and patch it. Do you know how insane that is? And that's a community run effort. That's what something like this incentive is stating. Is that there should be end of life services so the community can take over for your live service games. Because the entire idea behind a live service game is that the community is supposed to support it from the start to the end of its lifespan.
Skywind.
Yes.
Right there, Skywind.
Yes.
For anyone who doesn't know, it's a team of people, all just modders and shit, that are literally recreating Morrowind in the Skyrim engine.
Yes.
That's it.
And they're all doing it for the love of the fucking game.
Didn't Max do it for Mario vs. Yes, very famously. Maximilian Dude, who I followed on YouTube since like COD Machinima
I
days.
love Maximilian, dude.
I love Max.
He and a team of very dedicated
R.I.P. Benny.
modders, and yes, R.I.P. Benny, very dedicated modders and fighting game aficionado lovers have remodded MVCI, very much maligned because of its looks, not for its gameplay, Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, to what is known as Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite Beyond, which is modding the game so people can play it with new mechanics, new characters, new graphics engine. Like, everything is so important. And it's like the fact that Thor, and we're going to get to it more on because I have the harmful video, lies consistently about it, about VODs being deleted, where he shit on this project and where he calls it like a whole bunch of names, and even Ross a whole bunch of names, is such a fucking cockamamie lie. He's such a spineless little fuck, and I do not care. I know Thor has threatened to sue people. Very famously, he tried to sue Private Parts. He did a DMCA, a fucking pussy-ass bitch DMCA. The indie dev. Oh, you can't take my voice. Why? Because it made fun of you? Because you're a little pussy? Because your game isn't made? Because you're more concerned about being a fucking content creator than you are a fucking indie game dev, because you masquerade as somebody important when you're really fucking not, and you fucking bar people from your community. So your community is so fucking insular that all they care about is, oh my god, Thor, it's so sad. Payment software, what about the ferrets? Fuck the ferrets. Make the fucking game.
Please don't fuck the ferrets.
Listen, I don't care about your side projects. Make the thing that you have actually asked people to invest for. It's so stupid. It's so narcissistic. Literally.
Also, another important note, with indie dev, you're told never make your first project a massive project because you'll never complete it.
Yes, as Killjoy stated, a really good example of this is Monster Hunter Tri. They just got to the hub back after 10 years of it not being tied to any online content. Yes, exactly.
It's not easy to explain in a soundbite, but if you notice, we don't make a distinction between single-player and multiplayer games. That's because the law doesn't either. So,
yeah. Also, I can't even believe I have to say this, because Thor is a fucking idiot. Oh, thank you.
Falgi, I'm gonna crash
Yeah, you
TF
should.
out about
This is
guy.
disgusting. This is because Thor is a fucking moron. When he says, oh, I don't want games to tell companies I don't want the government to tell games companies what to do. What does he think the ESRB is? Does he think the ESRB just doesn't exist? Does he know why the rating system exists? Thor is such a fucking pseudo-intellectual moron. He completely forgets that the ESRB exists for a reason. The rating system exists for a reason. It's to protect games. It's not just to protect the public. It's to make sure the games can be released and not blind. And so we don't have the stupid days of GTA causes school shootings. But he's too stupid.
Jack Thompson.
Yes.
No, don't utter his name. He's gone. He's removed from the equation.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, Thor, thank you, honestly, Slugbase.
Thor makes me sound smart.
But that's what I'm, like, literally. Yes, chat, I am your crash out consultant for tonight. This is, like, quite literally one of the most insane things because Thor doesn't want government influences, but ESRB is not law. But you have to remember that ESRB is a body that exists. So for those who don't know who ESRB is, I'm going to grab it real quick while Greg wants to say something.
No, I was going to say, fuck, what was I going to say? Single player games would inherently be fine because their story would already be wrapped up by the ending. If they wouldn't release an unfinished game, but in the sense of like always online games, they're just releasing games that are going to be available temporarily. Whereas a single player game you could potentially pick up at any point in time and not have any issues with. But if there's a proper ending, then it's already fine.
ESRB's slime thick Latinas.
Thank you.
I say there are some MMOs that are like preparing themselves for like the end of life, and like if that was like if they were to be taken offline, they could still function. Like Final Fantasy 11 technically, and like 14 is like still there.
I've had a conversation about 11 and 14 because they are flagship titles. They have a number associated with them. They're likely going to be supported forever because like those are they want the numbered ones to be the go-to ones, and it just helps that 14 is really popular and 11 is fairly popular enough. But but if they ever do decide to wrap it up, I'm sure they're setting in procedures in place where they would still be available in some way, shape, or form to be played.
Yes. So here's something really important. ESRB is a self-regulatory non-for-profit. Very famously, some people don't use it, or like in the case of Steam has its own rating system. But there's a reason why the ESRB existed. The ESRB exists because of consistent, like, moral panic from government resources. Because sometimes the government does need to step in when you are not policing yourself. The reason the ESRB is more stringent about its rating system, like the motion pictures ratings board, is because the government had to step in and say, guys, if you don't do something as a market, we are going to step in and do it for you.
I'm trying to remember. If I remember correctly, there also was a thing about the ESRB where like the lead singer of Twisted Sister had to go in front of like the Senate.
Well, this is first
Judas Priest.
It was
Judas Priest.
Yes. It was during the Satanic Panic about about
where D&D was satanic, and there
Twisted
was
Sister highlighting like where their lyrics came from.
Yep.
Yeah.
Play a Judas Priest album backwards, you'll hear like, oh, praise Satan,
Yes. Yeah. And it's like really, really important to do that because the reason the ESRB exists is in response to potential government intervention. So if the ESRB is not going to step in and do it, and because, hey, it's a self-regulatory body with the special interest of publishers to, not do the bad thing, and so games can still be made, then sometimes the government has to step in, like it does with anti-monopoly practices. They have to step in and break up monopolies. Very famously, when Viacom, AT&T, and Discovery all merged, they had to sell off businesses and companies that they owned because the government steps in and says, hey, like the Federal Trade Commission comes in and says, hey, you guys have a monopoly. You guys have too much of a market share on the communications and media production market. You need to sell things off. There are self-regulatory processes that don't prevent that. Sorry, Ash, I cut you off.
No, go ahead.
There are self-regulatory processes that are not going to stop that. So a government has to step in. You can be an anti-government shill all you like. You can be a leftist that hates the government. I'm with you. I get it. I don't fully agree with you, but I understand. But like, that's literally the whole point. It's just like, I can't. Sorry, you were saying something.
I was just
Ash.
saying, do you guys remember when back in like the 90s, there was a moral panic about the FMV game Night Trap?
Yeah, it's in here.
Night Trap.
Because they were
Do
lying.
you want to
about
go
what
back
exactly
even
happened.
further?
Mhm.
Look up Custard's Revenge.
Oh
Yeah.
God, no, don't. We can't
Yeah.
show that.
Look up Custard's.
The
We can't
Revenge.
show- I can.
That's an
describe what
Atari
happened.
game that actually exists.
Yeah.
That game actually exists. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
It's about a Custard sexually assaulting a native woman that's tied up.
Mhm.
Indigenous, sorry.
Right. But it's really important too because, and I really want to talk about the reception part of this. By 2008, the Federal Trade Commission reported 20% of underage mystery shoppers were successfully able to purchase M-rated video games from a selection of retailers, a 22% reduction from 2007. By 2011, the numbers even dropped further to 13%. In its 2009 report to Congress, the FTC recognized that the ESRB for having the strongest self-regulatory code for all entertainment sectors because of its enforcement of advertising and marketing guidelines. The FTC still has to evaluate if ESRB is working. Fun fact, ESRB agreements are why some video game retailers read out the ESRB ratings and ask for parental consent and ID for M-rated games because they agree to fines if they don't. Exactly. That's like a whole... But like, that's what I'm talking about. Like, the government is still involved. It's not like ESRB just exists in a vacuum. They do have to answer and show that it is effective so the government doesn't have to step in.
Wasn't the ESRB partially created because of Mortal Kombat?
Yes.
Trying to remember.
It used to
I
be
thought
called
so.
something else. It was like the International Internet, something, or Internet,
Yeah.
something like that, and then it's rolled into the ESRB. But that's why it's important to have even self-regulatory boards. But even self-regulatory boards aren't enough sometimes. I've said this, okay, so something that I'm passionate about, and both Q, myself, Killjoy, I'm pretty sure Greg, and we've talked about it at one time too, or we've all been in a call. I think the ESRB should mandate file size limits. I honestly think
Yeah, we have
the
talked about that.
ESRB needs to start really looking into the idea of mandating file trimming because you
God.
can make your game more
Call of Duty's 150 gigabytes.
Yeah.
Or like 200 gigabytes now.
It is possible to make your games more compact. It's just more
Destiny 2 is so large
labor-intensive.
that you can't play
Yes.
most of the content.
Yeah.
Some of the content.
Yeah.
You know,
Large
okay.
They
portions of the
deleted
content.
most of the content for Destiny 2.
Yeah,
They
the Red
deleted.
War very famously gone. I never got to
You know,
play
we,
it when I
we
played
were
Destiny
just,
2.
we were just talking about it today because Space Marine 2 just put out an update that creates a horde mode.
Yes.
And apparently,
Yes.
it's not optimized because
Yes, it
some of
turns
us
Are
RTX
getting like
immediately
5
on.
frames a second. You know,
Yes. It turns
turns ray
RTX
tracing
immediately
off.
on. Yeah. And I had to turn that shit off too for me. I like my rig is fine to play the game. I never had any stuttering issues, but yeah, it's a horde mode. It's gonna push your machine to the limit. And honestly, I've been begging for a horde mode. I don't really particularly like the multiplayer part of the game.
I've been waiting for a horde mode in Space Marine 2. I've been
Yeah.
waiting for it.
Let's get back to this since we've gone on a lot to explain why Thor is so massively incorrect. And why Thor, in my opinion, is being purposely malicious. My opinion. I'm not stating it as a fact. It's my opinion based on the way he's spoken and some of the evidence in the way that he identifies and characterizes Stop Killing Games, and Ross to this day.
So why make this even harder? Both the movement and the law are making distinctions on how games are sold. Also, that part he said about it affecting all live service games, yes and no. It would affect most live service games in the future, but the initiative is not retroactive. So that's one thing Thor doesn't understand, but he also seems to think this is about converting multiplayer games to single player. Once again, he made that up, and I have no idea why he thought that.
Transitioning an entire multiplayer server-side game into a single-player video game, which means rebalancing the entire experience around single player, rebuilding everything in the entire game. How are you going to do that with...
It's not what he said. Not what he said. Never. It's never in it.
Final Fantasy 14, you're just going to make all the raids soloable? Imagine the day that World of Warcraft shuts down, and suddenly you have to make it a single-player game.
It'd be crazy if World of Warcraft is already working on doing like single player things, and it's almost like other MMOs, like Final Fantasy 14 has bots in their goddamn game.
Yeah,
For every
you can
individual.
do like a bunch of different.
It's tied into the story.
Yeah,
Like
Yeah, I think
in
it's
later
like-
in later
Yeah.
patches.
it's
I'm trying to
because
remember,
Yoshi P
I think-
wants to future-proof his game. Sorry,
I
go
think
on.
the only thing you can't like solo is like 8-mans and like the big raids, but you can do dungeons basically with bots.
Yeah.
You can
Or,
do
like-
that in ESO. In
Yes.
ESO, with the exception of like the 12-person trials, everything else you could potentially solo by yourself.
I was gonna say
I
the
know,
Gears of
because
War
I've done it.
2 as well for using the bots.
Yeah, I've used the bots when I didn't have people to play with. Like, again, yeah, GW2 is very single-player friendly. Yes, you would lose so many content. Like, you lose games if you can't future-proof it. And future-proofing is just letting your audience future... Your audience is future-proofing your game. Do you think, for an instance, do you think that, who's it? What the fuck? What is that company called? You think Bethesda doesn't love the fact that modders future-proof their games for them and then take advantage of them?
exists because of modders. Bethesda still make money because of modders.
And Bethesda takes advantage of that. And I do think that that's
Yes, they do.
predatory in certain ways. But that's not the point. Jason is on record saying he's fine with games dying in despair. I know it's in this video.
I'm
Chicken
Oh,
Caesar, that's insane, but I love it.
that ever bought the game. That's what they're asking for.
No.
Because they would have to sunset live service games as a single-player experience. The idea that suddenly...
Hot take, no single-player game should be live service. No single-player game should have live service elements.
Yeah, that's fucking insane.
It's insane. It's downright criminal because you could take away the ability to play a single-player game at any time.
You know, there is a game series. You can say it's like a D tier like series called Valhalla Knights. It's very cheap. Not a lot of people play it, but I really liked it. And the third game came out on the Vita, and it's a single player game, and you could just buy levels. But also the game made it so you kind of want to buy levels because it's super fucking grindy, like unreasonably grindy, and that's because they want you to buy levels. It was fucking miserable. I never finished it just because it's like, well, I'm either gonna spend hours grinding to hopefully not get to another like choke point, or I'm gonna have to spend money, and I'm just like, fuck it.
Yes, I do remember not when they put microtransactions in Shadow of War, and I was livid about it. Sorry, I just saw that and I got triggered.
What an insane, fucking Weaver. Thank you. I know that you used a generator, but that is very funny. If someone could make that for Rizzles, that'd be really funny. But thank you.
You need to make every single live service game playable single player offline? No, dude.
Correct. No. This one is particularly baffling to me
All right.
because
Ross, 1 second. I know you don't. As a guy with also a receding hairline, you have a beautifully shaped skull. Your hair betrays it.
I've heard most counter arguments before, but until Thor,
Dude,
I've never heard this one.
bro.
That we want the
Embrace
industry
it.
to convert
Yeah,
all
I would embrace
multiplayer
it.
games
Also,
into
your hair's
single
Embrace
player.
the
right.
bald, my friend.
I
Do
keep
it.
saying it. You never know where gamers are going to take this.
Nowhere in there does it say that it's directly targeting always online single player games.
Oh, he's so close. He's so close to getting it.
It is vague.
Draft, thank you so much for the 10.
Slight spoilers, but in the second to last expansion
Yes,
for Xi,
yes.
there was an 8-man raid that could only be done with bots that was a
Yes.
part of the story. So
Oh,
yes,
yeah.
it
Yes,
can be
and
done.
Shadowbringers.
Thor knows nothing.
Yes, Shadowbringers is.
So
and it's-
bring
And
Well,
Endwalker as
so
well.
so that
Oh,
would have
yeah,
been Endwalker.
Endwalker,
yeah,
sorry, not Shadowbringers.
yeah.
Endwalker, thank you.
I
Because
want
it's
to.
so
I also
important.
want to point
I was
something
thinking that
out
too.
that Thor isn't even talking about, and it's like, oh, all these multiplayer games, all these live service games, and I'm like, motherfucker, do you not remember that people used to do goddamn LAN parties?
Yeah, I know. This is.
Does he
annoying.
not recall that? Like the original online multiplayer with a fucking LAN party.
People wouldn't be able to play games like Eve or Ultima Online without like certain support.
No
now.
one cares about Eve.
I know Eve.
A lot of
a lot
people
of
do.
people do. Thor cares about Eve because Thor like grew up in Eve, and a lot of people don't like him from there.
He didn't grow up in it. He
I have opinions
or
on
is he
people
infamous
like
in it?
Eve.
yeah, he's infamous in it. He has what's the word where it's I forget the name of what it's
He's
called,
a piss
but
baby in it.
No-
and didn't
no.
like. Okay.
well, yeah, but it doesn't matter. Yeah,
We're gonna try to get back to it because there's a lot of like ground we have to cover.
And because of that,
Think
it
about
will
it.
impact-
Look it up.
He never has that light bulb moment. Well, he is correct in that statement. It's almost as if that's not what the initiative is asking for. But those were his streams with a smaller audience. What does he say in his big YouTube video with over 1 million views that he had time to research?
If we're trying to kill off the practice of developers putting together a live service game, pitching it as a single player experience, and then taking away support in the future,
Now he's changed it again and is making up how it's about single player games.
It's not. It's literally just it's just having an end of service plan. That's not what it's about. You changed it again, Thor. Thor, will you offer a solution? Will you offer a counter?
He has a
Yeah.
final solution.
Yeah, it involves ferrets.
Ash.
It involves ferrets.
Ash.
Advertise.
during Pride.
What is he
Ash?
doing?
Mhm.
It's almost
it
over.
needs to be specific about the business practice it's trying to defeat, which is specifically companies that are doing this under the guise of it being a single player game, but adding online only functionality that is not.
That's not what it's fighting.
That's-
It's a part of it, but that's not what it's
He's
fighting
not-
for.
His argument is that it's too vague to implement,
Yes.
but it's only vague because it hasn't. They don't have this written up, and also you can't have the same procedures in place for every
Yes.
single game that's ever been in place.
Yes.
It has to be nuanced in ways that games can do this naturally, or in ways that would fit in their own price models as well.
And not only that, one of the bigger things regarding games development and future proofing in this style is the fact that one of the major components to lawmaking is negotiation. Thor clearly also doesn't understand how laws work and how initiatives
He's
work.
bringing up the crew. He's
Yes,
bringing up the
yeah, he
crew.
brought up the crew.
Oh my god, he's bringing that whole issue into the. Oh.
Well, because
you.
again, it doesn't like Thor thinks that he's
Well-
the most intelligent person in the room, but doesn't offer
Well-
a solution.
Well, Ross here even says that the crew is like what kickstarted this whole thing. Like that
Yes,
was
yes.
the big wave of momentum is because
It was the whole crew split where like Ubisoft literally deleted the fucking game unless
Yes.
It very much reminds me of PT. We talked about Silent Hill earlier. in the
Yes,
stream.
people would save their PS. They would never
I still
update
have
their
it on mine.
PlayStation.
I still have it on mine.
If someone finds out that you're selling a PS3
Yes.
that has PT on the thing, that the value of that PlayStation 3 skyrockets because
Wasn't
you
it 4?
can't get it anywhere else.
It's a PS4, not a PlayStation 3, but
PS4.
it's whatever.
Sorry, PS3 is
But
No worries.
people bought an extra PS4
The-
just to make sure
the-
it never updated.
The difference, I think, the difference inherently is a consumer did not pay for that.
Yes.
It was still a demo.
Yeah. But like
It's the
Maxine
same
says,
thing where like
it's
it
any
is a piece
produce.
of media.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a piece of media
that
that
point,
cannot
yeah.
be found anywhere else. Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. But again, I think the law is very
It's
feel like
vague
it's
because there is no standard. Without a standard,
like,
you can't do anything.
I think the law cares about when people have invested money into a thing that they can no
Yes.
longer.
Well, yes, that's the whole point.
That's
Well,
more
I
the
think
aspect of it. But I
I think
understand
it's
what you're saying.
also partly an issue with the fact that, again, as it always is, it always has been since the invention of the freaking internet, is the law is so far behind it.
Well, that's but
Not
it's
caught up
not only
with kind
that.
of thing.
It's the reason why the right to repair is a legal issue, is a matter of law, and not a matter for self-regulatory bodies. Because a games company can say, "Well, I'm not a part of the self-regulatory body, so it doesn't matter. I have to opt in or I don't opt in." There's no legal precedence or penalty for me not being in the ESRB, because they're just not. You open yourself up to, like, Steam can open itself up to problems, but if Steam self-regulates like the ESRB, but has like one or two practices that they don't do, they don't need the ESRB. They just don't, and that's part of what they do. They don't necessarily need it. They just self-regulate themselves like the ESRB. I don't. It's just so silly. The only way to own Yokai Watch 3 is to buy a cartridge for it, which can run you $80 to $300 due to limited physical copies being made. With the eShop shutdown, you can no longer buy it from Nintendo. Yeah. Like, there's a bunch of... Nintendo eShop has been the biggest source of frustration for me. As a early Wii adopter of the eShop, when you used to lie about where you live, Delaware, so you wouldn't have sales tax on the games, and they'd be cheaper. As an early adopter of it, I don't have games anymore because my Wii doesn't work anymore. And I can't grandfather, and you couldn't grandfather it to the Wii U, which was an insane thing.
Well, the Wii U was a...
Yeah, but I had a Wii U.
I still have my Wii U.
I like my Wii U. Mario Maker's a great game.
I had it for
Not
Xenoblade
necessary,
Chronicles
and
X.
doesn't add any
that too.
gameplay
And
elements.
I got it for
HD.
Xenoblade Chronicles X too. And I was very sad because I wanted to play with a friend, and the online I knew wasn't going to work, and it just didn't work, and it was sad.
That's the problem.
No, that's not it at all.
And there are some people that'll say, well, just make it all single player.
Like
well,
you?
I've explained that doesn't make any sense in the first place. If you're making it all single player, you'd have to carve off all of that.
That's not what it's asking for. That's not what it's asking for.
And it's developer
I feel
time
like
and money.
I feel like he's reading a completely different document than the one we're looking
It's
at.
almost like
insane.
it's almost
It's
like
an imaginary
he's lying on
document that's in
purpose.
his head that he's reading.
Yeah, it's almost like he's being intentionally disingenuous.
The amount of leaps of logic and misinformed, like the amount of misinformation that he's spreading, like it's mountains of misinformation. Either this guy never read it, or and like is talking out of his ass. And if he admitted that, c'est la vie, right? Or is purposely being malicious. It has to be one of those two. And if he's saying that he's read it, that means he has to be purposely being malicious about it. Because there's no way you can just read it verbatim off the website then. Just read it verbatim off the website.
These are two different ideologies, and that's okay to have two different ideologies. I just won't agree with it.
But those aren't the ideologies. Nothing in the initiative is asking to convert games to single player.
Yes.
Nowhere in there does it say that it's directly targeting always online single player games.
Yeah, so why does he keep bringing it up? This is a total red herring.
Yes.
If we don't like the idea...
Also, chat, there's like 122 of you in here and only like 40 likes. Let's get that up. It's like the 2-hour mark. I haven't even asked for likes. And if you like the channel and if this is your first time here, please subscribe to the Op Block. We do a lot of research here. I like making show docs of these kinds of things. Very, very important. All those kinds of things. Again, very crazy. We try to do what we do here.
Please don't make me sing.
No, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. But again, like we are trying to get, we are on our way to 1.5. We are so close to 1.5K. Literally like 60 off, I believe. That's jinxing it, but like, let's get the 1.5K before the anniversary of the channel, which comes in July of some time. I typically consider it August, but if we're doing the anniversary of our first stream, then it's July. So please, please, please support the channel.
idea of live service games as a whole. I get it. Don't play live service games then. Don't agree to those terms.
No, he's getting a new thing wrong now. We're not against them existing.
Oh no, Q.
Make him sing.
Thank you,
No,
Rosa Grayson.
I saw that. I saw you delete that message.
Black Flower, thank you.
We will make you sing.
Thank you.
We're against them being destroyed with no recourse for the customer.
Yes.
Just use logic. If we didn't like them in the first place, why would we care if they're being destroyed?
I can't. This is pissing
He
me off.
says he gets it, but he doesn't.
Let's talk about the actual bad business practices. In the case that a studio is making a live service game and they sell it to you as a product,
Okay.
they say that you are purchasing the game or you are buying the game, when in reality you're actually purchasing or buying a license to that game. I think that we should be fighting about that. The initiative is not trying to call that out specifically. It's trying to say that all games need to stay in a functional, playable state.
Yes.
Which is not calling out the language that is being used to manipulate the player. Call that out specifically.
Okay, I don't know if he's doing this
Pause it.
intentionally.
Pirate Software would come up to you and ask you to define what weird means.
Yes. I 100% believe Pirate Software would love drama content. Because none of that made sense. That was gibbly-gog, glosh. Like, I don't understand. None of that made sense because not only is that not what the initiative is about, it doesn't make any sense because all you are asking is to have an end-of-service plan. All you have to do is create an end-of-service plan. The end-of-service plan could be that the source code goes out. The end-of-service plan could be like, hey, just pull it and put it on your own server. Buy a licensing fee. You can buy a licensing. You listen. Great idea. Buy a licensing fee. One-time licensing fee or perpetual monthly licensing fee for a server. I don't know. What game does that? Is that Minecraft? Holy shit. Does Minecraft do this? Why can't you just do the Minecraft model, chat? Am I losing my proverbial mind? Did I lose my mind?
You lost your Minecraft.
I thought Minecraft.
It's almost like you buy a service agreement. You either have your own home server or you rent a server somewhere with the source code. Insane. Black
So
Flower
the
5.
OG Silent Hill 2 cannot be bought
Yes.
/ played unless you have the disc and a PS2
Yes.
or R3. The enhanced edition is pure fan work to preserve it.
Yes.
I'll be charitable and assume he's not, but this is some serious obfuscation. He's complaining that the initiative isn't focused on another topic he made.
Yes. The Nova voice.
Hey, the initiative doesn't address how Capcom changed the look of Dante in the Devil May Cry reboot.
Also, hilarious. Shout out
We can't
to
get into
Ross.
this.
Please
No.
no.
We can't get into. We
Fucking
can't get into this.
Kill.
I will
Hate
shout
it.
out. I will shout out Ross for using DMC 1, not DMC 2,
Not
even though
DMC
I
3
believe
or-
2's design is better.
Or DMC 5. My hottest gamer take is I don't hate
Or 4.
DMC Devil May Cry.
If the gameplay is good, I fucking
On
don't.
launch,
I
it was
can't
bad.
stand
I don't hate it.
fucking
I
Dante's
there's
character in it.
it's-
and
You're
the story-
talking
they
about the
shoot a
wig?
pregnant woman.
The
They
wig?
kill a pregnant woman.
Well,
No.
that's Virgil. That's not Dante. Dante doesn't.
I said they.
The game is so old. Who gives a shit? Very famously, Ninja Theory did fix the main problem with the game, which was the color coordination of the enemies in a specific fashion. Because at one point you wouldn't be able to attack enemies without specific weapons, but you wouldn't have enough variation for said angel or devil weapon. But the game is not bad. They did fix it. The story's still ass for the most
Story is
part.
Asperger's.
I don't hate it. I honestly
I don't hate it.
That is my hottest gamer take.
DMC
is I don't hate it.
is not bad. I think it's not great, but not bad.
When it came out, it was the Antichrist.
Yes.
And it was very, very difficult to have a reasonable
Well,
conversation about it.
I think the game has gotten a lot more love over time
Story's
because
so ass.
No, because a lot of the developer stuff came out where Inafune really fucked over the game. If you guys don't know, look up stuff about DMC, Devil May Cry, like the Ninja Theory game. Yes, there's 2 parts. Yes, the producer for the game was kind of a dickhead in interviews, but very famously, Inafune turned down gameplay design as well as early concepts of the game to make it more in line with what Dante actually looked like. And Inafune said it didn't look like Gears of War enough. He wanted all games at that time to be given like the Xbox coat. Ninja Theory
Chest high walls everywhere.
Yes, Kenji Inafune at the time. Yes, Kenji Inafune very famously did that. Yep.
Pimenta, it's shit like that makes me absolutely love the game because it's so stupid and crazy, and that I can't. It's very schlocky and B-movie, and I can't hate it for that.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, there's a lot of things that could have been
good. You guys remember Metroid Other M?
Oh
no!
The OJ creator fucked over
we don't talk about that. We don't talk about. We don't talk about that game
either. That may as well be what he's saying there. I am not aware of a game on the planet with a license agreement that says you are not buying a license. Our problem is not with licenses failing to inform people.
Yes.
Blizzard says they can take away your purchase.
Yes.
You know another PS2 game I can't get anywhere else?
Thank you.
God Hand.
Thank you.
I love God Hand.
Tons of.
God, this really annoys me that for some reason you're all your ats. I need to figure out why I did that.
Purchase for no reason. That sounds pretty clear to me. Our problem is those terms are so hostile to consumers and the medium that they should be taken off the table entirely.
It's almost like it's literally almost like the initiative actually addresses that by existing. I hate Thor so much. I hate this fucking corpo cocksucker.
Needs regulation. Forget video games. If you look at basic commerce for hundreds of years, when you paid money, you either got to keep what you paid for, or if it was a service, you were told when your access ends. The vast majority of online-only games do neither of those. The games industry is trying to upend basic commerce. I think you have to go back to feudalism before neither of those things are true. Why even have consumer laws if you have no rights?
If you try to tell me that every studio needs to
DMCA,
run their
aka homoerotic stabbing,
live service game indefinitely or not run one at all, then no one's going to run them.
Oh no!
Then fuck it. Then let games die. Like, unironically, if that was what Stop Killing Games is about, which it's not, by the way, let games die then. Let live service games never exist because this is insane.
I would prefer large publishers like your EAs, your Activisions, your Ubisofts, to be adherent to something like this, so they stop making shitty games that you only get to play for 6 to 9 months before they're gone.
Yes, if they don't want people to have specific parts of the source code, because I get it. Like, I actually do get it. Like, it could be potentially malicious to have people's source code and things like that, because it could, in theory, steal proprietary technologies and like dev stuff, but like this is insane. I'm going to the big video game convention tomorrow. I'm going to see if I can find a copy of God Hand at a decent price. I doubt I will.
Good luck.
You know what? You know what I would love? Lost in Worlds.
Make sure you check the disc too before you go.
Lost in Worlds. You know what I would love? Go there and ask people on the street how they feel about pirate software fucking up.
That'd be interesting.
I would just love to know what like
go there and ask
feel
they have Battletoads.
Yes, that too.
They will. Battletoads is very common. I was gonna say something else about this, but I got sidetracked with God Hand, but it'll come back to me.
He wheeled out that line about publishers having to support the game forever. He was literally watching the
look. What the initiative would not do: require publishers to give up intellectual property rights, require publishers to give up source code, require endless support.
That's what I was gonna say. Minecraft is pretty open for everybody to view and make their mods for it and shit like that. I haven't seen a Minecraft killer.
No. And a Minecraft killer just will never exist because of the nature of Minecraft. It just won't. In my opinion, it'll just never exist.
I think like in the area close to like Terraria.
Well, Terraria was
ever
a
got
very
anywhere.
Terraria is purposely a very
Yeah,
different game.
different.
That's part of Terraria's charm. It's purposely a very different game.
So earlier where it says it won't do that in big letters. That wasn't enough.
Yes.
We just can't stop gamers from going there, even when we spell it out. I admit, guys, this part hurts. To see the biggest voice on this issue.
Bro, the pain in Ross's voice makes me so sad. Bro gave his life for this project, and he's seeing it fail because of a cocksucker. Because of a corpo cocksucker.
You get it wrong again and again and again. Then put that same wrong information on blast to a far bigger audience than we can reach. It hurts. He doesn't get it. He doesn't understand what we're asking for. Now, to be fair, it sounded like he was getting a little closer in this video. Yeah, despite being called 2, it's at least the 4th video he did on this.
You want that to stay in a functional playable state, that means the devs have to release either server binaries or somehow carve off the game to be a single-player experience now.
That's better, but he's still talking about converting the single player right to the end.
Yeah.
He never completely got it. So Pirate Software did not understand the initiative. Maybe still doesn't. That means the majority of his critique is about things it would not do.
I'm just going to speed this up a little bit because we have a lot of video to cover. But there's so much. This guy is such a fucking cocksucker. I hate Pirate Software so much. I'm sorry. I know I'm being mean. He'll probably see this and say, "Oh, this guy's bad faith, yada yada blah blah blah." But it's just like,
Yeah, but he said about everyone. Everyone's
point,
bad faith.
At a certain point, you purposely refused to talk to Ross and settle this, and to just get Ross's side of the story. And it's just so infuriating because Ross deserves and is so kind about your fuck ups and your lies. Wait, why is this video called The End of Stop Killing Games? Because if you are in the EU and you don't sign the petition that is literally pinned, that is Ross's, like, he will be done.
This is his Hail Mary.
This is his Hail Mary. He openly said that if this doesn't get signed, because the European Union and the UK have a lot more leg room and a lot more groundswell for the right to repair, Ross will just quit doing this. Straight up.
Partially, in part,
he's burned
because
out.
He's burned out. He's been doing this for I guess a decade,
yeah, something like that.
And unless another cataclysmic type of event like that happens, it won't push this talk forward.
Yeah.
And even if it does, regardless, he won't be there to do it because it took so much of his time and life away from him, so to speak.
Yeah, he's openly said this would be the end of it because he spent every penny and ability to do this. And he's just tired. He's just legitimately tired.
Ooh, like kill all MMOs.
If that passes, enjoy never playing an MMO again for the rest of your life. And taking away from every other person that plays MMOs.
It really wouldn't. And I've explained why in that video, but the short version is companies would have
private servers
to stop liking money for that to happen. Lots of money. But his number one criticism is that he thinks the initiative is vague.
Incredibly vague. Too vague. Very vague and vague. It's vague. It's vague. That is vague. Too vague. Vaguely vague. Incredibly vague. Vaguely worded. Vague. 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 This is vague.
This goes on. Well, from Thor's perspective, his logic is pretty sound for this part. But the thing about logic is it's only as good as your assumed truths. And he said multiple times now that he thinks the initiative is only about single-player games. So since he's expecting the thing he made up, but that's not what the initiative is asking for, he thinks it's vague. Because for him, it is.
Nowhere in there does it say that it's directly targeting always online single-player games. It is vague.
Yeah, in fact, if we look at that long definition again, let's add a subsection just for Thor. Single-player games with an online DRM check. Those would already fall under this broader category. So Thor is expecting this. Again, I don't know why, but instead he's seeing an initiative that covers all of this. That's why
he literally is just like, he's literally missing everything. He saw DRM and only read the DRM thing.
No, I think he's only pointing to it.
Yes.
I think he read it all. He just doesn't give a shit.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like at this point, I have to believe that he's lying.
That makes it worse, actually. That makes it worse.
Yeah,
I don't believe the worst aspect to a rich man. Like,
yeah, Like this is insane. I'm sorry, but like this is so malicious. It's so malicious.
Calls it vague 50
And
times.
it'll get worse when we get to the harmful opinion and moist critical videos, because that's how large this has gotten. That moist critical is fighting now with Pirate Software. At this point, fighting, because Pirate Software is malicious as fuck and leaked moist critical's like well-meaning DMs because Pirate Software got his fucking knot in a bunch. This is insane.
That's crazy.
Don't say that.
Why?
Listen,
I
if he
fucking
didn't take it
choked on
all,
my food.
The thought that we want what we're asking for and not the thing he made up seems to have never entered his head. The initiative is trying to stop the destruction of games. That's the whole point. It covers the types of games most in need of saving. If we only covered this tiny subsection, that would save maybe 1% or less of games that get destroyed. This would do almost nothing. I'm not saying there isn't one, but I literally can't think of a game that meets this criteria. Every game I know of with single-player content that's been destroyed has been designed to run server-side, not locally. Older ones like that tend to have the DRM cracked, which is
yeah.
not an ideal solution, but that does stop games.
And people like got their DRM cracking is insane, and people thought it was impossible.
I bought GTA 4 on Steam well over a decade ago, and it took a very long time to finally be able to play it.
I'm gonna let you guys know right now that DRM cracking is becoming very, very hard.
Yeah,
Very hard. It's
because
getting
Is it 'cause,
slower and slower to get packs out there for DRM stuff.
well,
And
also,
the one person who's actually good at it,
Who's really good at it is
Crazy.
fucking insane.
yes,
Yeah.
I know,
Empress,
I know.
is
Fucking crazy.
Yes, I know. Well, like I think the biggest thing too
It's
is
another story for another day.
It's another
Yeah,
story
it's
for
another
another
story.
day. One story I will never run. But like it's just a lot. And I think the other thing too is that they hire the crackers. The reality is some of these, it's like white hat hackers. They will hire the people. Very famously, the reason you have The Witcher is because of cracking and pirating. The only reason you have The Witcher is
Yep.
because pirated games. So anytime you play Geralt of Rivia, remember that.
Game destruction. And newer ones with the Nuvo or something then have it removed by end of life.
Yeah, this legitimately feels like slander at a certain point. I can't even.
So I say less than 1%, but this might save 0% of games. I'm not sure. The initiative is actually not that vague. Though to be fair, some people did get hung up on this part. A reasonably playable or functional state. True, that is not 100% specific. There are reasons for that. You know how in law, police can stop a suspect with reasonable suspicion?
Yes.
Or a jury finds someone guilty beyond all reasonable doubt? That's because the number of situations you face are so varied that the law has to inject some common sense somewhere. It's the same with games. A multi-million-dollar MMO is a different animal from a budget arena shooter.
Ross did so much research in the last 10 years and thought of everything. It's insane. He has an answer to every one of Pirate Software's complaints, and it's literally in there. The objectives part. Where is that on the tweet? So it should be here then. This is Pirate Software. Just Stripes. One of the main issues. One of my main issues is when you go from attacking the argument with reasoned, sourced counter arguments to attacking the person with demeaning, bullying insults. Even if people wanted to listen to your side and even support you, your attitude is driving people away. Sure, I should have clapped back when Ross disparaged lawmakers in the legal process. It doesn't mean anything about you, though. But that has nothing to do with you, you stupid fuck. You're not a lawmaker. Who cares? But like, legitimately, who cares? And also, that doesn't make any sense because you disparage lawmakers by saying that that they shouldn't be involved in the game process and they shouldn't touch what developers do. That you don't want them to tell you what to do. You are doing the same. Excuse me, you're doing the same thing. You're literally just doing the same thing. Let's see. John Stripes goes on to say, people support who they like, not always who they agree with. By attacking your opponent, not their argument, you'll instantly turn people away from liking you or supporting your concern. Your concerns are valid, you have knowledge, but abrasive clapbacks are hard to support. Pirate Software, we're dealing with a legal initiative. You should not be supporting a legal initiative because you like someone. You should support it because it causes effective, tangible, and positive change. Logically, you know this. Logically, I know this. But realistically, we both know you catch more flies with honey than vinegar. Sometimes playing the game is needed to affect change. That's politics.
No, you catch more flies with vinegar, honey.
What I just said. What did I?
No, I'm just saying people always get the term wrong. It's the opposite.
But I'm not paying. I'm not paying to change it. Appreciate it.
Ross also commented on this.
On this one?
Go back. I said go back. Go back.
Where?
Go back.
Where?
Literally hit back.
What?
The back button.
It's underneath.
Yeah, no. Well, yeah, this one.
Don't say no if you didn't know.
I think, oh no, this is a future video where this comes up, but it's okay. Carson Farms, I don't have much to add beyond what I said in my video, but saying I never took my videos down is false unless it's been done by someone else who manages your channel. The stream where you read my reply, and the one prior to that are absolutely deleted from your channel. This is Pirate Software going on to say, Twitch auto-deletes VODs, any stream going over 12 hours, blah, 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 blah. No, I mean the gap of your 2 particular days in between weeks of videos that are not on your YouTube live stream. They're deleted as of a couple days after being posted. I guess the evidence is now deleted, but I imagine at least a few people could corroborate it. Here are all the VODs, 11 cutoff. This is broken state, causes them to be a black screen if they cannot be. So this is obvious. You like over a certain value number, if you go over like 12 hours, your VODs like will auto delete themselves, so you have to stop like an arbitrary 11:55, or the thing will do it for you
on YouTube.
On YouTube.
I don't know if he dual streams to YouTube,
but
if it's just a VOD,
I did on Twitch, but I could be wrong.
That's what I'm saying. If he gets to Twitch and just uploads the VOD off of that wouldn't matter.
Yeah. Again, this is and then the Curse of Farm says that he's skeptical. But I'll leave it with people who know more about it. As shown here, for this has been known for years. Yes, I understand this is known for years. Blah 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 blah. Yet it happened on both YouTube and Twitch at the exact same time. Twitch VODs don't usually delete due to an internet outage. Nobody's talking about an internet outage. She's talking about months ago. However, Reddit has found something different to what Pirate Software says. And you know what? I don't think we need to go over Harmful second video. I recommend Harmful Opinions is second and third videos on the topic. I really think they're very good. But there is a Reddit post that contests what Pirate Software is saying. So let me get to it real quick, because I accidentally X'd out of it when I was doing something. I'm the scat man. All right. Let me go in a little bit further. Make sure it doesn't do the thing that always does. So, the Moist Critical Reddit has looked into the claims that Pirate Software says that YouTube auto-deleted everything. So chat, let's look through their evidence. First and foremost, I'm just going to delete the things. I already had some of them up, and I'm just going to delete it. However, Thor lies so much that he tripped over himself once again. Let's bring up the logs, which are still up the last time I checked, and he's not deleted them yet, from his Discord. Old screenshot from his Discord server. Any chance of VODs coming back? Are you aware of this? So Thor goes on to say, I deleted them because they're being used as a way to shit stir and create more attack posts, which we have to ban over 1,000 accounts in the last 5 days for hate speech, death threats, doxing, etc. The videos I have out about SKG sum up how I feel anyway, so it's not a loss. So this is now, to be fair to this, to be fair to Pirate Software, this is not specifically dated, and is not in reference. To my knowledge, unless somebody I know is in the Pirate Software Discord. Ash, are you in there?
Yeah, what
Can you search this post?
If we have the date for it, that'd be nice.
I would like a date for it.
Okay.
The problem is no, if it's dated
Yes.
appropriately, it would be
If
fine.
it's dated appropriately, as well as
it's very likely if
seeing what
he's
it's in reference to. That's what I want to
he'll
see.
it's probably deleted.
Maybe. It could not be, but we could check.
It'd be very nice.
It'd be nice, because, like, I'm saying I will give credit where credit is due to Thor. This doesn't specify if it's specific VODs, but he is highlighting that he is deleting VODs regarding SKG, which is weird, and does trip over his previous statement on Twitter that they were auto-deleted. Or it went over the 12 mark.
For some reason, it won't let me look for a specific user, so I deleted them because, okay.
Yeah. Let's see if we can find this before moving on, because I know you're in the Discord again.
Oh yeah, okay, so it's
Can I just?
If you
let me take a screenshot.
Yeah. Is this posted on a specific day?
Last year.
Oh, fuck me.
I mean, I'll post it in here.
Would it be between those dates that
No, but
Harmful
this would be
Opinions
prior.
Yeah.
So this is August 12th, 2024.
You posting in this area?
Yep, this chat, this live chat. Or
this call.
this call.
Well, would you look at the date, chat? Well, they deleted them. And this was over what this is like almost a year ago now, when he was getting hate initially for his original statements about it. Interesting. Is there discussion that would highlight like this specific like quote, like if they were talking about those specific VODs and the VODs that disappeared? Ha! Hello, chat. Look, welcome to an Op Block exclusive. So beautiful.
Okay.
Chat, this is why we support this is why you support the channel, chat, so you too can get fun.
Okay, so the chain of replies is, okay, starts with a person going, serious question, how do y'all deal with the knowledge of Thor getting death threats and stuff? I feel distressed thinking about it. I think it's horrible he has to deal with all of this. And let me go.
But is he blamed Stop Killing Games for death threats? Come on.
Okay, then this is Thor. I am not 100% okay. Don't worry about it. It's mostly just irritating because it gets in the way of me making stuff. And then someone asked, chance of VODs coming back.
So he deletes. So presumably, now this is presumably based on deductive reasoning and not 100% proof. So please take this with a grain of salt. The community feels bad about Pirate Software receiving death threats, which again, I don't think that he deserves that, regardless of how I feel about him. Nobody deserves that. But he's stating because of all the quote, harassment he has received because of it, and he believes it's directly related to Stop Killing Games, he deletes the VODs. So number one, showing that he is lying about it. But let's go on a little bit. Oh, there was a newer screenshot of it. Ha ha ha! Well, thank you for the newer screenshot. That's fine. I didn't see that. What's interesting is a direct admission that he deleted VODs to prevent them from being used to shit stir. See here. Are there some VODs missing? I mean, the ones that I could see from 2 weeks ago, and I thought I missed some last week. Yeah, they're missing. The ones covering the SKG were deleted because people were shit stirring. Now, granted, this is these are his audience members, I guess. I don't know if these are mods. But this is what his audience believes based on Thor's statement, that the SKG VODs are specifically deleted because of harassment that he is presumably received. Again, I can't assert that that is the case. I can't see the harassment. Again, sucks if he was receiving it, but that's not the point. The point is that he deleted it, and he lies in his post. Just like he lies that he says all of the Lyric conversations are fake and edited. But he cannot provide evidence to the contrary that he didn't have interactions with Lyric, even though verifiably we could see that he had interactions with Lyric. What's this? Other subscribers in his Discord discussing the topic at length? I wonder how many of these posts will end up getting deleted after Thor sees this thread. Now, personally, I think the new stated reason we found here for deleting VODs is another lie. He didn't delete them because there was shit stirring. He deleted them because of a 2-week group of VODs because he spent that 2 weeks raging on stream and it made him look bad. Let's listen to this clip.
And like on top of it, I went through the Reddit for their initiative for that, and there were a number of posts in there that were people saying we should keep baiting him and attacking him because if we do that, he'll keep talking about it, and then more people will sign the initiative. They were planning that shit. And those threads are still there. They're still up. People are still talking about that shit on there. So instead of that, I just deleted all the VODs where we were talking about it. I kept my videos up and I walked away. They can eat shit.
So again, lying about the fact that he's literally lying again. Again, lying. I can't. Like, this guy constantly lies all the time.